talking about today. So here we go.
Trick that it's not real. I don't believe in either side, because I think when you pick a side, you are only, you are inadvertently supporting division. Yeah, it's not a popular point of view, but I just gotta say, like, think about it. The wells are drying up, and that, okay, now the diversity's off the table, now equity's off the table, now inclusion's off the table. So that makes me ask myself, okay, so how do we survive? Well, are there black people here tonight? And in your heart, do you think for what it is that you do and who you are, do you think you're the best? Okay, so do you want the job because you're black or because you're the best? Do you want someone to support your startup because you're black or because you're the best? Right, so I think now for me it's about us having the best ambition. That's the reason why you should support these businesses. Yes, they happen to be black and brown, but it should be based on the thesis that we're the best, not because we are a total shade of a skin color. That's a point of view that I have now that I'm resting on. And if diversity, equity, and inclusion ever comes back in style, cool. But in the meantime, I want to focus on being the best because I can bank on that. Because that's what's going to get you the position. Where, I don't want you to give me anything. I want you to panic and not let me out the room because I'm the best.
I'm gonna start mine off different than what everybody else had to say because I'm a fashion dude, and I'm gonna show you. I'm gonna show you all my Louis shit because I would wager that I probably spent throughout the years on various Louis Vuitton items. I don't know. It's not that much. It's not that much, but maybe somewhere between maybe 40, maybe 50. No more. I don't think any more than 50,000. I don't think any more than that. And it's been 2 times that I said, man, I'm not fucking with Louis no more. Oh wait, I gotta stop cussing in the first 10 minutes or something like that. I gotta stop. I'm not dealing with Louis no more. And both times, oddly enough, it had something to do with things that black dudes did rather than something a white dude did. I'm like, oh wait, no, yeah, it's only been 2, and I don't get it. Yeah, I don't know. I almost want to say it's something about LVMH that when niggas work with LVMH, they lose their mind. I don't know what it is. So I'm gonna go back. The first now, to be fair, I have always I believe, and I would have to check this to be sure. I believe Kanye has said he is bipolar, or I have heard people allege that maybe as a result of a car accident, certain things happen. I can't really that he may have a brain injury or something like that. I don't have any proof of that. Let me check to see if he said he was bipolar or not. Okay, he was allegedly diagnosed with bipolar disorder in 2016 after being hospitalized after a psychiatric episode. So with Kanye, him working with Louis Vuitton and then going on to, say a lot of wild stuff where I'm like, dude, I almost want to give him a pass, but these other 3 folk that have had dealings with LVMH, I'm not giving no pass to because I don't have that. It's almost I don't have any information to suggest that they had these types of problems. The first one that made me say I'm not effing with Louis Vuitton specifically was Virgil. And I don't know if y'all remember this. I think was this in 2020? It might have been in 2020 when someone robbed an off-white store during the uprisings in regards to the killing of. Hold on, let me check and make sure he said this before I say it. Because I want to get the exact quote. So, was Virgil in his response to George Floyd being killed, where I think at first he posted Virgil posted a screenshot of donating $50 to a protest related fund, and he got dragged for that. And then when his store was broken into, his response in regards to, he said, "Oh, I support the protest, but where is this? I can't find it." Virgil screenshot. He once said, Streetwear, he didn't. Wait. I just had it. Oh, that he was devastated to see his stores being looted. And my problem with that was one, even using the term looted, because when we start talking about looting and what have you, we're talking about people who are protesting, speaking in response to the system not hearing them when they attempted to use the system. And Virgil should have known that. So it was those two things back to back that made me be like, you know what? Why am I sitting over here supporting you in this position when you not supporting us? You get what I'm saying? Because his that was Virgil's response. And rest in peace. I get that because people get weird when you speak on people who are no longer here or what have you. But when people were here, we speak on, some of their acts in regards to how they affected black folk. And I'm a black person who was fucking affected. And so this is why I'm explaining why I was like, I was not dealing with Louis Vuitton. But it was also the contrast to what Marc Jacobs had to say when someone asked him about seeing his stores looted. Seeing his stores looted, because that's how they said it or whatever. And Marc Jacobs said, property can be replaced, lives can't. And then went on to talk about being in support of the protest. So that was the first time I was like, man, I'm not fucking with Louis Vuitton. Then and I was like, I'm good. And I got plenty. How many pieces? I bought maybe four of the Virgil pieces from his collections, right? I bought four, and it was before this happened, because I stopped fucking with him after that. Then I noticed the other person, because a lot of people don't realize that Dior is part of Louis Vuitton Moet Hennessy, right? And so I got there's a shirt by Dior. It's a very interesting shirt that I really really like, and they've done it. I think they call it the oblique pattern or something like that. Whatever the case. The first time I noticed it, I was in, where was I? I was at South Coast Plaza in California, down Costa Mesa. That's in Orange County, for those who may not know. And I saw this bill. I didn't really deal with Dior at the time, but I was walking past and I was struck because I saw this black dude with braids, and I looked. I was like, "That's ASAP Rocky," and he had on this like sheer Dior logo pattern shirt. And I was like, "Damn, that's dope." I was like, I don't normally see people like ASAP in Dior ads. I was like, they, okay. And I had this feel. I was like, they seeing us. I was like, they trying. And I was like, and I do like that shirt. So I copped the shirt. I noticed though, and this is why I was like, man, LVMH be driving motherfuckers crazy. Then next thing you know, I see this clip. It was in regards to Black Lives Matter. Let me see. When did ASAP Rocky say he couldn't relate? Because I want to get this right. Because I like to quote people accurately, and we got all these tools. Okay, 2015. That's when he said he couldn't relate to Ferguson. I live in fucking Soho and Beverly Hills. I don't want to talk about Ferguson. I can't relate. I was like, if I'm about to, nigga, you just got some money. You just got to Beverly Hills. So all of a sudden you can't relate. And I was like, huh. Now to be fair, that did not make me say, okay, I can't fuck with Dior anymore. It didn't, because he wasn't the creative director. He was the face of that or what have you. And I only bought that particular shirt. So I kept dealing with Dior, because nothing else really happened after that. Unfortunately for him, I think he figured that he can relate now after he went to Sweden. And I think he was arrested wrongfully, because from what I saw, a fan was following him and his crew around. Where were they at? Somewhere in Sweden, and antagonizing him and threat. And to me, I feel ASAP in that I don't know what this dude is about to do. He keeps following me around. I'm not gonna wait for him to do something to me. I'm gonna confront him, try to get him to leave me alone. If he keeps pursuing me, I'm gonna have to fuck him up. I get that, because you don't know what's about to happen. And so they arrested him, and I think they wouldn't let him leave. And it's almost like, to me it seemed racist where they were trying to make an example of him because he was a black dude from America there and assaulted someone who, to me, it was clearly in self-defense. But I was like, I bet his ass can relate to Black Lives Matter. Not to laugh at the plight, but I'm just saying. So now we get to Pharrell in this shit. First off, speaking just honestly, Pharrell should not be the creative director of Louis Vuitton. Pharrell is there because he is black. Let's be honest. Pharrell isn't first. No time in my life have I ever wanted to dress like Pharrell. Never. I'm trying to think because I did do some videos on the Met Ball, and I didn't even like what Pharrell wore to the Met Ball, which was Louis Vuitton. And Louis Vuitton had a fabulous night with some of the outfits. It's been almost a year, so I don't remember. But I do remember, like, I hated the cut of his jacket. I ain't never wanted to dress like Pharrell. I ain't never wanted to wear no damn billionaire boys club. I ain't never wanted to wear no ice creams. I think he bought like part of G Star Raw. G Star Raw I liked before he got there, but I ain't never bought no damn G Star Raw. So there was so many other people that should have been like Wells Bonner, hell, Carl Kanai. There, there's so many other qualified designers who just happen to be black that shared that same connection to streetwear ethos. And so I'm like, we're listening to a dude tell you that you don't want to get something because you're black while he's sitting there in a spot at Louis Vuitton because he's black. Now, that's not the only reason. To be fair to him, he's also black. He's famous. He has some connections to fashion, but he's not a designer. You know, with Virgil, I got it with Virgil. It's plenty of shit that Virgil designed where I was like, yo, that's nice. With Pharrell's collection, I looked at a lot of stuff. I may have, let me see, what did I buy? I may have bought some shoes, but other than that, I didn't see anything that I really wanted to buy. So the decision to not buy any more was really easy. I'm gonna tell you, it was really easy because I wasn't feeling it no way. So then when you come out and you start on this lecture to black folk, talking about, do you want it because you're black or you're the best? When the hell have black people ever got anything because we're black? The only thing that we have gotten in America because we are black is trauma. That's it. America will give us all the motherfucking trauma we want. But as far as giving us equity and inclusion because we're black, no, that's not what happens. They may give us equity and inclusion because they want our money, but not because we are black. So when I think and I hear this, I'm like, bro, who are you around, right? Because let me see, maybe how long ago? Maybe a month ago, it's this restaurant. If you go to Paris, it's this restaurant called Kong. It was featured on Sex and the City. Back before I was vegan, I used to really love going there because they had these lobster hot dogs or something like that. It's a real interesting place, and it's got this lovely view. And right across is Louis Vuitton. It's in between Louis Vuitton and I think it's called the Samaritan, which is a French department store that Louis Vuitton has purchased. That's a whole nother thing because somebody told me about an alleged story of employees being recorded at the department store in violation of French law. I have not verified this yet, but that's a whole nother aside. If that happened, that's fucked up. Anyway, I'm looking across and I'm showing my partner Aaron. I was like, so see, this is right across. This is the headquarters of Louis Vuitton, where Pharrell recorded the Clips album, and he's creative director. And I explained, some of the history or whatever, and why that's monumental in all that type of shit. But keeping it real, if Virgil had not unfortunately passed so suddenly, you would not be here. You would not be here. And I'm gonna say something else. Now, Pharrell, far as I understand, is not mixed. He's just a black dude. And he reminds me of my boy Damon. So Damon, growing up, Damon, who passed like 3 years ago, Damon, black dude. I know both his parents black, but he looks Asian. And we always joke like, look, man, I gotta get you this DNA test so we can see, where your Asian ancestor is. With Pharrell looks like he is black and Filipino or something like that. I think that was also a draw for Louis Vuitton. I do, where they're trying to definitely court and be a part of the Asian market, especially in China, even though China is slowing down on the amount of Louis Vuitton that they're buying. Hence why we see Louis Vuitton pivoting to hotels and other types of ventures, because you got a beast. They got a beast. They got to feed it. And so if you stop, and this is to let you know how many industries are very vulnerable to people who saying, you know what, I got enough Louis Vuitton. You know what, I don't need a new car. Everybody is working on really thin margins. And when that's the case, people like Pharrell need to shut the hell up. Because my thing is, when you say, I know this is not a popular point of view, that means you've been talking to somebody. You know what you're about to say is wrong, but for some reason, and when I say wrong, I mean wrong. But for some reason, this is what you feel in your heart of hearts. So you about to say this shit, and now you got to deal with the consequences of that. And my thing is, why are you saying this shit before the Clips are about to the Clips album, I think it's Let God Sort Them Out is the name of it. This summer, while I was listening to it, I was like, man, this album right here is not the rap album of the year. I was like, this is the album of the year. I had rap album of the year. I had Big X the Plug. I had the Clips. Who else did I think should be nominated? Jim Jones at the Church Steps. Oddly enough, and another one was Kwame. I thought his album was really good. Trying to see who else did I have in there. I think that was about my four or five albums where I was like, oh, these are all. Oh, and of course, Kendrick Lamar's GNX I thought was good. I don't think it's the album of the year, but I went back a few times and listened to it. But those were my five: Kwame, Kendrick Lamar, Big X the Plug, Clips, and Jim Jones. And another one that was really good was Lloyd Banks had a really good album where I was like, oh, that one's really good. That one, yeah, that one's nice. But that's who I had in there. So why are you coming out saying dumb shit right before Grammy voters got to vote? And and this is why I'm like, man, I think Louis Vuitton go to y'all niggas' heads where y'all begin to think like, yeah, it's me. We're not buying you. I remember somebody saying something about Seth MacFarlane jokingly, like he's the only creator that's jealous of his product. He's jealous of Family Guy because he thinks it belongs to him. I used to feel that way about Kanye sometimes, but I'm like, I feel like he wants to be the music. He wants us to love him like we love the music. It's never gonna fucking happen. And with Pharrell, we're not gonna love you like we love the Louis Vuitton. And the other thing that I want to know and get back to this point is who do you have around you? A lot of times when I look at these folk and I see who their teams are, I don't see a lot of black people. And some people are proud of it and think the shit is funny. I don't think it's funny. I really don't. Because these same people, even in this clip, are telling people, you can do this, you can do that, you can do this, you can do that. Who the hell they gonna work for? I've said this time and time again. If they can do this and do that, who they go work for? Who they go work with? If you're not hiring black attorneys, you're not hiring black accountants, you're not hiring black PR people, you're not hiring black social media people, you're not hiring black designers to assist, you're not hiring black, who are they going to do these things with? And I'm what, because if you got black folk around you, right, they should be telling you not to say this. Because these are Republican talking points. These are white nationalist talking points. These are the talking points of people who are trying to institute policies to hold us back. Now let's get to this other stupid shit. I'm tired of people trying to pretend that, oh, Democrat, Republican, Green Party, it's all the same. It's not. And if you can't see that with Donald Trump in office, and the types of policies that he seeks to institute and institutes. If you can't see that, you don't want to see that. You're a lazy thinker, right? Or if you even think. Because you hear it all the time, and everybody wants to be so fucking smart. Everybody wants to be like, I don't want to let them think they got over on me. You can look at the two parties. Support the party that most aligns with how you want the world to be and still talk shit about them. You don't have to not talk shit about them because you voted for them, but you need to vote for people who you think you can sway. You can't sway. Donald Trump can knock at my door right now and say, I want to talk to you about something. I'll close that motherfucking door, go right back upstairs, and finish watching Outlander. I've been trying to watch Outlander 5 times. Finally, Nicole, you got me into it. You were right. After that 5th episode, I was like, okay, I'm in this. So now I'm in this. Thank you very much. But that's what I would do. And people say, and I love, there's a breakdown that Roland Martin does on this that I love. It makes my whole heart smile because he pointed out, and people said he was wrong. Like, oh, why is he talking about? Pharrell had a cousin, I believe it was a cousin, according to the story that I heard from Roland, and I looked it up, who was killed. And I believe that the police allegedly weren't investigating it properly. And Pharrell called on, I believe, the Department of Justice to intervene and investigate. Roland pointed out, and I agree with him, that's politics. Because I can tell you right now, if you call on the Department of Justice right now, do you think that they're going to be as interested as previous Department of Justices under other administrations? Your vote decides the agenda, right? So either you get out and vote, donate to campaigns, complain, because I say do them all. Do them all. Either you do these things or somebody else is going to make an agenda for you. I don't understand what has to happen at this point for people to get that. It's like it's all a bunch of magic tricks. You can't be that lazy of a thinker and get in front of people and say these things and then expect that nobody else should have anything to say about something that's stupid. You can't. You can't. And I watch a lot of content. I take in a lot of content. And everybody who are people who are on different sides, where it's like, and when I say different sides, where it's like Joe Budden's podcast, I find that they can be a bit more empathetic towards celebrities than say Roland's podcast or Native Pod or what have you. Everybody on board, like, nigga, what? What? What are you talking about? And then I'm gonna tell you this. I remember once I was in physics and we were talking about an old episode of Good Times. It's an episode where James gives back, Florida makes James give back some money that he found. At that time, these are reruns. At that time, I was coming into my black consciousness and practicing, because that's what you have to do. And I said, I don't know how it came up or whatever. And I was talking to my girlfriend at that time. I was like, that episode is, I'll never forget. I was like, how did I say it? I was like, that episode is designed to make you have an inferiority complex. And my physics teacher he didn't stop me. He let me talk. Mr. Bird, he let me talk. I was like, they're showing you a situation in which someone who needs money, probably more than you do, because they have been placed in a situation, a city that is designed by white supremacy to deprive them. Yet they have to find it upon themselves not to take money that they have found that will help them in this situation that is not of their making. You look at this in a similar situation, but you may not be as destitute, but still in a similar situation. And you know in your heart of hearts that if you found that money, you would keep it. But you will feel a tinge of guilt because these fictional characters, they are giving the money back while you are stealing it. That's designed to make you feel bad about the white supremacist situation that you were placed in. I will never forget. My physics teacher when everybody started laughing at me. My physics teacher looked at me. He looked at the room. He's like, Mr. Jones is. He's like, Mr. Jones is 100% right. 100% right. And this stupid shit that Pharrell said is the same type of thing. If I come into a room and I pitch and I'm good, right? I don't really give a shit why you give me the money. As long as you don't do no racist shit to me, oppressive shit to me as we are going through this process, as we're partnering and working together. I don't really give a shit. I remember it was and look, don't get me wrong. I think white people should give up white privilege. If you're getting something, I forget who that was. It was somebody who was the coach of the Indianapolis Colts in the last few years. Who was that? Who was that? Who was the coach? The Colts. Wait, Priv. Jeff Saturday. Jeff Saturday went from I think did he go from I think Jeff Saturday went from retired player to no, he was he was a great player because I remember him from Madden. Great player. I think he went from being a player, retired, an analyst to head motherfucker. But yes, with no prior NFL college coaching experience, none whatsoever. He became the head coach. That don't happen to black people. Deion Sanders had to go to Jackson. One, his old school didn't want to hire him. Florida State didn't want to hire Deion. He had to come back home to Jackson State, then prove himself. Then Colorado was like, okay, yeah, come here. No shits to Colorado. They may have hired him if they had a spot then or whatever. Deion Sanders is. If somebody wanted to say Deion Sanders was the greatest football player of all time, I would not argue with them. Deion, because I look at people based on their position, not like, oh, do we have more Super Bowls than Tom Brady? I don't look at that. It's a team sport. Plenty of folk deserve Super Bowls based on their talent, but they couldn't get them. It's football is different. Football is different. Plus, nobody ever seems to want to talk about the cheating scandals, plural, with the Patriots. Nobody ever wants to talk about that, but I digress. Anyway, I believe in folk giving up privilege. Black folk we don't have that privilege to give up. So my thing is, and one, you ain't never go be the absolute fucking best. Do y'all think, like, real talk, does anyone think that Pharrell is the best producer? No. I answer for you, no. He ain't one. In my personally, best producer might be, and I'm talking hip hop. I'm not talking about the whole canon of music. In hip hop, best producer might be Timberland. Timberland might be the best. Dre, I want to put Dre at maybe 2 or something like that. I've heard so many things like, well, people saying Dre is more of an orchestrator or what have you, but no, I'll probably put Dre still at 2 because that's part of producing. You got to create something. You got to get it out, if I keep going down the line, I may get to Pharrell at 10. And then somebody might say, well, name producers who are better than him, right? In hip hop. I would probably say 40, Mustard. And then then when I start going back, people ain't gonna like it when I start going back. Cause then I'm gonna have to go to some people y'all ain't heard of, where the whole Quad City DJs, but that's a crew, but still, he did a lot of his stuff with the Neptune. People don't really understand, like sometimes when it comes to bass music, DJ Magic Mike, whoever was producing, I forget who was producing Two Live Crew, his name escapes me right now. I can think of Fresh Kid Ice, Brother Marquise, Luke. I cannot think of the DJ who was producing it. Hold up, I gotta look that up because I can't forget his name. Mr. Mix. Mr. Mix was cold. Is he still alive? I think Mr. Mix is still alive. Yeah, he's 62. Mr. Mix still alive. Bomb Squad. I can go on and on. Whoever, I forget the dude's name. Tribe Called Quest. I know it because he also does music for Reasonable Doubt, which is on Hulu, which is a really dope show. Check that joint out. It's about a lawyer. Kind of gives you vibes of Mary Jane. What was the name of that show with Gabrielle Union? And there's also a book similar to that by Nikki Notes. What's the name of the book? Black Girls Must Die Exhausted. It kind of reminds me of all that whole vibe right there. But going back to my point with white privilege, I remember it was Max Kellerman said something where I like Max, but I was like, you're not a real ally if you feel this way. There was a discussion. I can't remember what year it was. And Max said, well, I'm not giving up no privilege. Brother, I'm not giving up no privilege. That's a problem. Max has a belief that, oh, we should expand it to everyone, which I do not disagree with, where I'm like, people are paid too little. There's too much being held at the top. Yes, these privileges should be expanded to everyone. Whenever I happen to fly first class, I get upset, not because I'm like, man, I should be doing this all the time. I'm like, the whole plane should be like this. And before anybody says anything about the economics of this, I got an MBA in finance. I know the fucking economics. But this is how the whole plane should be. Like if you've ever flown Emirates, I have a problem with their sexism and patriarchy, but them damn Emirates know how to run an airline. The entire plane feels like first class. I've been in their first class and I've been in their coach, and I'm like, the difference is not something I'm about to complain about. And so I agree with him on that. But in the meantime, if you like Jeff Saturday should have turned that job down. If you know you getting something that you don't deserve in a system designed to give you shit that you don't deserve, and you want to call yourself an ally, a rebel, a revolutionary, you want to pretend you have a moral high ground of some sort, you got to give it up, right? But I don't think Louis Vuitton, based on what I'm hearing, or at least the people surrounding Pharrell, I don't know if those type of people are there, the people who give up, right? Instead, at least whoever is around him is not giving him good advice if they told him that this is something that you should say, let alone even fucking think, right? Because it makes me wonder, like, are you there because you're controllable? Because this is how you feel? I'm trying to understand how people end up with this attitude, right? Who are you talking to? I don't know. But I can go on and the other thing about don't support these businesses because they're Black. That used to be like a talking point where it's like, yeah, I'm not, fuck that. I'm gonna give you a chance because you Black. That's how I'm gonna do. I'm gonna give you a chance because you a woman. I'm gonna give you a chance because you an ally. I'm gonna give you a shot, right? And Lord knows, I don't trust most white people. I do not. I trust about 30% of white people. So I think the other 70% are racist. That's how I feel. So I believe, no, give them a shot because they're Black. And that's one thing, like when I looked at like all that Louis Vuitton, I'm like, yeah, that's cool and all, but I gotta decolonize this closet. And when you start, you got everybody, we should be making an effort to find Black designers in fashion and buy their shit because they're Black women. I thought, I was like, for sure, like Virgil's brand is called Off-White and it's still going. And I thought that it probably was like a tongue-in-cheek way of being pro-Black, anti-establishment, like get Off-White. And they say, no, he had some shit about the shades in between and all that. I was like, man, it would have been much better if it was that. What I'm rocking right now, this is called Denim Tears. And I'm all that money I would have spent in Louis Vuitton is going over here. All is going over here. I'm on this site like every day looking to see like what's dropping. Because when you start to expand, you see too that, man, this is better. This is way more dope. That Actively Black, Wells Bonner, I got so much stuff in my cart. I'm like, yeah, I'm about to wait. Yeah, I'm about to get that. And somebody else, man, Carl, y'all got to go check out Carl Kanai. I know it's like, Carl Kanai? From the 90s, yes. When I tell you, this dude, Carl Kanai, is over there designing his ass off. He got this set. It's leather. It's all leather, but it's printed with news articles. Right. I saw Dior do something like that, and I saw somebody else do something like that before Dior. But his his is butter leather. And I had said I was starting to feel weird where I was like, man, I don't think I want to buy any more leather. I'm making an exception for this thing that I'm watching. Also, what I notice when you travel, Karl Kani is global. Everywhere I go, I see people rocking Karl Kani, and it looks good. It's nice quality and it looks good. Karl Kani owns all of this. It's his shit. He never sold it. He never sold it. Yeah, he never sold it. But Pharrell's job to me at Louis Vuitton, he is not to do this. What he needs to do is what I heard Dapper Dan. When Gucci made that sweater that looked like a what do you even call that? Blackface sort of thing, minstrel. I would have stopped fucking with Gucci. The only thing that kept me like, okay, was Dapper Dan. Because Dapper Dan had a deal with Gucci, and he still said that shit was stupid and racist. When I saw that, I was like, I'm still cool. And I ain't bought Gucci since then, but because I put them on. I had a ruling. I was like, I ain't fucking with them for like 10 years, but I would fuck with them again. But because of him, because of him, that was the only reason. Pharrell needs to be more like that. But as far as like black businesses, I don't care. You can patronize a black business, and if you see something that you don't particularly like, if it or you get a product you don't like or something like that, complain to them. And if they don't, give you the service that you want, okay, go someplace else. But this whole thing about not if we don't support black businesses, who will? I tell folk all the time, it's not because I wanted to be this way, but I was like, this is how it's worked out throughout my career. Throughout my career, most of my clients have been white. I don't want it to be that way. I would love for most of my clients to be black folk. That's not how it works, though. Most of my clients are white. 6% of the attorneys in America are black. Our phones should never stop ringing. Should never stop. I don't have conversations with people that I know who may mention to me like, oh yeah, I had talked to a lawyer, whatever. First thing I do is like, well, wait a second. What is it that you taking over there that I first off? Second off, because I can't do everything. I'm the best in the world. I still can't do everything. Cool, I get that. But I'm like, oh, who'd you choose? Did you look at any black candidates? Because that was the same thing when it was time to pick somebody for Louis Vuitton. There were many black candidates who said they ain't come to me. Wells Bonner, they ain't go to her. They ain't go to Telfar, which I think would have been a much better pick than Pharrell, because Pharrell's more of a stylist. Now they call it the modern creative director, which basically means, oh, he's not a designer. He there for vibes. Like, yeah, you bring it in. I don't like that. I don't like this. And don't get me wrong, Pharrell has experience, but he hasn't done a whole ass up until he got Louis Vuitton, to be fair. He hadn't did a whole ass collection. He did stuff with people, capsule collections, but nothing like this. Not like these folk. I would have much rather seen them get it. There's another dude too. He just left Balmain, Oliver Rooston. Did I say it right? Rooston? I used to love what he does with Balmain. And to be, he kind of looks a little, I don't know what his background is, but he looks black and Asian to me too. And that appears to be what they might be looking for. So maybe they do it. Fuck if I know. But I will say this again. I don't want to see Marc Jacobs should not be saying this and you saying this. Whenever somebody who works at Louis Vuitton gets ready to say something like what Pharrell said, go talk to Marc Jacobs. And I know, I'm literally telling you, go talk to Marc Jacobs before you make any statements about black people. The reason I say that is because clearly y'all have a group of motherfuckers y'all don't trust. He's from the fold. and he don't say stupid shit like that. Or, oddly enough, call Roland, call me, call Jamila Hill, call Joe Budden, because now I'm gonna say this about Joe. Joe say shit where I be like, man, Joe, that's fucked up. Like Joe literally talks about going to Target. I don't know if he's changed this. And then in the next breath, be talking about, yeah, Target stock down. We did that. Nigga, we ain't did shit. You were literally in Target, literally crossed the picket line to go and get motherfucking Sour Patch Kids. I don't fucking know. Whatever the fuck you had to get out of Target. Talk about we did this. That said, Joe would tell you he got Black Panthers all through his family. So Joe, regardless of how he may want his show to go, because Joe wants the show to be easy. I'm glad Mark is there. I'm really surprised at the fact that I miss Melissa. I had no idea how much I like Melissa. Now that said, I like Mona. I do like Mona. Mona says some shit sometimes where I'm like, that's interesting. Because she said something about when hip hop was really hard and all of this, Pharrell chose as his partner Chad, who is an Asian dude. I had to look and think. I was like, I think Chad is Asian. I'm not sure. He went the total different way. So there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that. You know what? I may have to correct her on that because I think the Neptunes was 3 people and not 2. So I'm not really sure about that. But I like the way she thinks, and I like her takes. It's not enough to keep me watching the show though. I have replaced Joe Budden with the Native Land Pod. I'm not sure how it happened, how it even came across Native Land Pod. I might have came across it when Bakari Sellers was talking with Stephen A. Smith, and they had some words about Stephen A. Smith's stupid ass take on Jasmine Crockett, which fits into Pharrell. It fits. We have this thing with celebrities where they man, I tell you, they be failing us, man. They because people want to do this thing where they want to play both sides. They want to be above it all. Be above it all. Fuck that. Pick a side. That's the other thing he said that was like, when you pick a side. When you pick a side. So you ain't gonna never pick a side in nothing. Is that what you do? That makes sense? And I know somebody could say, oh, he don't mean like that. You gotta pick a side right now. And the sides change. You gotta appreciate the nuance. The person that you side with Tuesday may not be the person that you side with Thursday because they on some bullshit. But that's how life is. This is not, and the thing is, politics, what people are calling politics is where we go put this stop sign. Politics is not how many black folk can we lock up this year. That's how politics is not assassination of your citizens. That's life. That's survival. And to be fair to Pharrell, he said it. He's like, so how are we going to survive? That's what it is. It's not politics for us. It's survival, right? And so you don't need to tell no more people not to vote, not to pay attention to politics. Because politics and doing things in your life on an everyday basis, that's the marriage. That's the marriage. And they're both action-based. Vote, do shit. Do shit, vote. Do those things. Be involved. Know what's going on, right? Politicians who lie because they get benefits from that. If you vote and you don't vote for the politician that lies, guess what? Motherfucker, stop lying. It's simple. Instead, I gotta sit up here listening to this stupid shit while the white man, Mark Jacobs, is saying property can be replaced. That's what Mark Jacobs is saying. And it's not, and don't get me wrong, everybody who associates with LVMH, they don't go nutty. I think Rihanna has partnerships in regards to not only with her, which one is it? Fenty. I think that's a partnership. I could be wrong. Let me check. It's right here. Fenty Beauty is co-owned with LVMH. And I believe Rihanna and ASAP have a baby together, or maybe 2. I'm not really sure. But whatever the case, she ain't lost it. It's only black dude. What the fuck is wrong with us? We do this. Stop it. Good. And with Pharrell, it hasn't been like just a thing. Like it's like, oh, it's just one thing. He was performing. Now I think this was 2018, to be fair. And outside of like a lot of folks, like Mark Lamont Hill has been on it from the beginning, saying this is fucked up. What's happening to Palestine? Way before everybody else. Way before October 7th. And that's always the thing. Like, yes, it was shit before October 7th too. He performing for the Friends of the IDF. I think that's Friends of Israeli Soldiers, and got the nerve to try to get up there and like, let me give a message. What was his message? Oh God, let me see what that. He shared a powerful message of humanity, unity, and finding light beyond differences, asking attendees to simply hold hands for a moment to see shared humanity and light, transcending religions and backgrounds for a better world. But he didn't say stop killing these Palestinians. Cause see, that type of messaging, that shit, there's a realization that I've had probably in the last like five years, something like that. When you watch these, because I can't figure it out, these Marvel movies and read the canon of white literature, you have all these high ideals and moral codes and things like that. They don't mean that for us. That's for everybody else. That's for the white people, right? White folk are hero. They're victim, victor, hero, villain. They're everything in their story. And you there to support it. That's what happens with a lot of these white folk. So when you give that message, they're like, yes, that's for everybody, but they aren't human, referring to the Palestinians. Because I've heard Israelis say these people they aren't human. I've heard Mossad agents say these people don't want peace. Well, people that I suspect were Mossad agents say this. These people don't want peace. It's like a motherfucker hitting you in the head, boom, 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 saying he don't want peace. Well, maybe if you stop hitting me in my damn head, maybe we could get there. Because at the end of the day, I forget how many. It's a lot of Israelis in Palestine. They're not going nowhere. But there are a lot of Palestinians there too. They're not going nowhere. So peace has to happen. And when I am one where you ask me like, well, okay, well, do you think Israel has a right to exist? Fuck no. But I don't think any country has a right to exist. I don't like borders. I think this is God's land. And everybody should be able to go wherever the fuck they want to go. As long as they abide by, local customs or laws or what have you. Assuming those laws are not unjust, but that's how I see it. So no, I don't believe Israel has a right to exist or any other country. I think people have a right to exist. I think entities have a right to exist. Animals, rocks, dirt, I think they have a right to exist. But countries, no, I don't believe in that shit. And I think like with Pharrell, he did the performance. I think it was another one where he was about to perform allegedly in Israel and got pushed back. He's like, okay, I ain't gonna do it. So that kind of shows you who has been around him this entire time. And this is a continuation of it. But please don't fuck up the Clips Grammy with your stupid shit. I think this was all part of the rollout. I think that's what it was, where it's like, oh, I'm going here, I'm talking all this. Lord, please, just don't say nothing else. Let me make sure I cover all my points when it came to this shit. Yeah, I think that's it, because a lot of that shit with Louis Vuitton, it seems like cowboy shit. I don't want to dress like no fucking cowboy. I ain't interested in that. Who the hell? I remember Dame Dash said that he came up with that whole cowboy cowboy thing. I don't know. Whatever the case, I'm not interested in it. I don't want to be a part of it. I don't like it. So I'm done with Louis Vuitton. I'm good. Y'all can have that. I'm about to continue to support these Black designers, and yeah. So you go be the best, the best. And let me say this too. I'm gonna leave it alone. And next time for black folk, when there's a black celebrity in the audience on stage saying stupid shit, start booing them. Be like, if you got to be the soul person, start booing them, because what they do, and something Jamie Foxx spoke about, is when you have some fame, you get this mist around you, and everybody's like this, and this is gonna be a nice segue into this puffy shit. So everybody's like this. Fuck that. Fuck that. Fuck that. And fuck them. Like, all right, there's a clip going around of Malcolm X talking about back in the '60s when Time magazine or Life, they were putting up black leaders, and he was like, they had Lena Horne, Dick Gregory. He's like, these people are celebrities. They're not black leaders. Now, what Dick Gregory became and what he was then, that's, two different things. But they love to position black leaders as whoever's famous within the confines of this white supremacist system. Like, if you're able to somehow navigate this white supremacist system to obtain success within it, then you're a leader. That's really what they're saying. Fuck this system. Fuck this system. Fuck the success in this system as being the thing that determines if you're a leader or not. That's bullshit. No, because they have designed a gauntlet to trap you, to make you stumble, to prevent you from being your best. If you somehow overcome that, then now you are deemed worthy of leading black people. No, what you are, though, you are positioned to decide to become a leader, right? Now, when Malcolm says these people, aren't black leaders, I agree with him. I do, because I don't like the idea of because somebody becomes famous or a celebrity, they're now a black leader. No, you are an entertainer who is being paid to entertain me. That's what I expect you to do. Now, sometimes do we need you because you have a lot of people following you or position? Do we need you to say some shit on something? Yes, we do. It makes you an entertainer who spoke out on something. and that's cool too. Now, I did say to myself, man, Malcolm, if you could only see now, they done elected an entertainer president twice. Both times it's been a disaster for black folk. The first time with Reagan, they had the CIA allowing motherfuckers, either allowing or, depending on how you look at it, bringing cocaine into our neighborhoods, being drug dealers. The second time, the third time, because this is Trump's second term. Y'all actually voted for that motherfucker a second term after that last time. America. Sometimes I don't know what the hell to say. I really don't. That being said, we got to get to this Diddy thing. Segue into entertainers. The first time I heard about Sean doing some shit where I'm like, what? It was with, allegedly, he hit Shakir Stewart, who I knew in Atlanta. I think Shakir, he did publishing. And the word on the street, I don't know if it's true or not, was that Shakir had called Kim and left a message saying, hey, how you and the kids doing? And Buffy hit him in the head with a chair. Now, Shakir, where was Shakir from? I can't remember where Shakir was from. But I'm from Detroit. I was like, he hit him in the head with a chair? Where's Shakir? Shakir let that nigga do that? For years, I had been wondering. Why? Because there was a DJ who allegedly asked Puffy if he had anything to do with Big being killed. Puffy allegedly, attacked him. I don't know. I was like, he didn't do nothing. I could not understand for the life of me why these dudes were letting this nigga just hit them in the head with chairs and not doing nothing. I am the type where you can hit me, I'm going to beat your ass and sue you. That's what I'm going to do. I will sue you for the damage to my motherfucking hand from fucking you up. I don't get this. I was like, I would do both. That's just me. Detroit, I don't know. So I couldn't understand it. And I think it was 50, I watched this interview where I think it was 50 said, I've never known him as a tough guy. He's not a tough guy. That's what I'm like. And that's part of the problem with Puff, where Kirk Burroughs, his former partner, who is in, by now everybody's seen The Reckoning. I got thoughts. This is confirmed shit that I have been hearing around the industry for years. So, this goes back for me. When when Death Row was at its heyday, you know, I was like, oh yeah, that's where I want to go. That's where I want to go intern. A lot of people was like, man, I'm staying fucking away from the niggas. Didn't scare me. Didn't scare me. I remember seeing a Prince concert, and I saw him. I was like, oh, I thought he'd be bigger than that. That's how I think. That's how I think, So that's where I wanted to intern. But I remember, so I sent my resume over because I was in Cali that summer doing a like a, what do you call that? Exchange program with another law school where I was in like entertainment module where I was like, is an intensive entertainment law module where you learning all the shit. And oh my God, we had an excellent professor who had worked with everybody, So he was telling us like shit that you don't normally hear, where I was learning like everything. So I sent my, resume over to the row and I didn't hear nothing. So I was calling, And so one day, I think the dude was Roy who was running it. I think his name was Roy, but this is a long time ago. And so I called and the dude told me to hold on. And he spoke to Roy. And Roy had clearly seen I think Suge was in jail at this point. I had seen my resume at this time. Was Pac alive? I think Pac was dead too. Pac might have been dead at this point. And yeah, he was. He was dead. And so Roy, I think, was impressed. Like, oh, this dude want to come intern here or whatever? Okay, cool. And so somehow the dude answering the phone, he hated on me. Because I think he also saw my resume and was like, oh no, I don't want this nigga here. He might replace me. Or he might be my boss. Or because I was that good where I was the type of dude where it's like, if something happened, I could have been running the shit, to be honest. So I heard him because he did how you press a button at that time where you could press a button on the phone where you can put one call on hold, and he fucked it up though. And somehow I could hear, and he's like, Roy, you want to talk to this nigga? You sure? And so I know Roy needed, because at that time, Death Row had a lot going on. So Roy was like, probably, I couldn't hear Roy, but he's like, yeah, he said he'll call you back. And so I ain't called no more after that, right? But I was like, man, I'm just gonna leave it alone. I remember this one dude who I had TSU with. He was like, man, you was about to go, you was gonna go intern there, and I was like, yeah. He's like, you ain't read such and such book. I was like, I know about the book. That's where I wanted to go because that was my philosophy. So throughout the years, I've always kept up with like trying to figure out like everybody, like who killed Tupac, who killed Biggie, and what I would hear all the time. Who was that? I can't remember who it was, but it was a rapper. And this is something that I did get secondhand. But you know how you can get some shit secondhand, but you know it's true. Like in law, we have different exceptions to the hearsay rule, right? It's very important to learn. I'm not about to figure it all out right now and break that shit down for y'all because that'll be a whole nother pod. But there's certain things that, we take as truth, even though it's hearsay. Like if somebody tells me something that somebody said, like say you see an accident and you just yell out, oh my God, he didn't stop, right? That's hearsay, right? That is like a statement that's being asserted for the truth within. But there's an exception called excited utterance, where it's like we think like you don't have time enough to decide to lie. Now, is it possible you could lie? Yeah. But we think like, oh, you don't really necessarily have time enough to lie. And so we take it as an exception. I have my own exception to hearsay rules, where I knew this dude was telling the truth when he was like, yeah, I was at such and such, So, and I asked him, like, man, what happened to Pac? And he's like, and that was just some gang shit. And I believed him. I was like, the way he said that, he relayed that to me. I was like, he's not lying about that. That is how it happened. And so now, all these years later, to hear all of this, I'm not saying it's true because it may not be true. What I'm saying is it's plausible. what is it? Occam's razor. All things being equal, the simplest explanation is probably it. And then so when it comes to Puff being in jail and the racketeering and the charges, people think that it was an overcharge. I don't think it was an overcharge. I think the fact that Cassie was signed to the label and was getting her ass beat is enough. And she tried to leave and he wouldn't let, I don't know if they got into him letting out the contract or what have you. That's racketeering enough right there to me. That's enough to sustain it. The problem is, and this is why I saw in the reckoning, the young woman who was like, oh, he wasn't looking at us. Because that was the thing that Puffy was allegedly eyeing people in the crowd who kind of like in the jury. Like, like, yeah, this, that, whatever. And she's like, oh no, he wasn't doing that. Then in the next sentence, she was like, yeah, because sometimes I had the looks and I look at him and be like, I thought you just said he wasn't looking at y'all. I thought you said y'all weren't making eye contact. She's talking about how, yes, I was aware of his music. She names different groups and shit that she was aware of. But check this out, y'all. I knew she was a fan when she named Day 26. Who the fuck is Day 26? I don't. And when she said it, I was like, Day 26. Day 26. I was like, I ain't heard that name. Oh, Day 26. And I'm like, you got Day 26 album? You a fan. And this is the problem when you trying celebrities. Remember I was talking about that miss? It's that miss. Shit. Now, I don't know, because I didn't watch the whole trial. I don't know to what extent that sentence that the judge handed down to Puff was because she was worried that Trump would give Puff a pardon if she gave him the maximum, which I think was 15 years or something like that, for violations of the Mann Act, transporting people across state lines for the purposes of engaging in prostitution. I don't know. It did make me think or consider whether or not Trump should pardon Puffy. I know you're like, whoa, you think Trump should pardon Puffy? Yes, but not for the reasons that you think. No, I think Puff was a menace throughout the industry. Fucking menace, right? You running around, you hit motherfuckers in the head with chairs, you're beating up Steve Stout because you on the cross, and according to the documentary, Hezekiah Walker, I always say it wrong. I used to have a friend, and I used to say it wrong just messing with him. He's a Christian dude. Hezekiah, I think it's Hezekiah, but I would say Ezekiel. He's like, it's Hezekiah. That being said like, oh, you say that, doc? Like you make a mockery of Jesus, some shit like that. I don't know. And so you want him to pull the video? No, nigga. And then you go I think Steve Stout was managing Nas at the time. You go and beat Steve Stout. And now I know Steve, was in the hospital. He got 500,000. Steve better than me. He better than me. Nas is better than me. Because if you beat up my manager, I'm going to fuck you up. But it's cool, though. Because I'm sure Steve told Nas, like, dog, just chill, this, that, or what have you. But I don't believe in that. You don't be fucking with nobody on my team. This is my manager, dude. This is my video. But I say that about Trump, not because I think that Puff he was a menace. A menace. And like people said with him, who was that? I think it was the dude who made innuendos that Puff was possibly drugging and raping him because he said he would wake up sore or something like that. I think that's what he was alleging. I'm not, because he didn't go into it more, I'm not sure if that's what he was alleging, but whatever the case, I think he was saying like the dude don't have talent. But he's not wrong. I think Puff is a great A&R person. He can recognize and hit. But I could hear Puff's flow. I was like, he doesn't have a great flow, and I don't believe he's writing these rhymes. I think these are somebody else's rhymes. His flow is terrible. There's one song where Puff has a good flow, and that's on maybe Life After Death. Carl Thomas is singing. I think it's Wit Too Short. Big. Carl Thomas is singing. I think it's the chorus is The World Is Healed with Pimps and Hoes. I'm just speaking about the ones I know. Puff has a great flow on that. Every other time it's terrible. It's terrible. And I'm like, you just reciting shit. How you can't recite shit, nigga? How you can't recite shit? And again, secondhand information. People who work with him allegedly said that he would come in, hear a beat, go, had a hi-hat. This is what this I don't know if this is true. And then get, a producer credit on it. So he's getting all the fucking money every which way. But that's not why I think Trump should pardon him. I think Trump should pardon him because he fits into Trump's pardoning canon. Where it's like, I remember when Trump ran for office the first time, somebody asked Puffy who he was voting for, Trump or Hillary. And oh boy was like, oh, I don't know. And this is when we all knew Trump was going to lose. But he was like, I don't know. To me, that was an incredible show of loyalty. And these are the motherfuckers that Trump be pardoning. I don't understand why Trump didn't pardon Puffy and the Tiger King. I don't get it. Tiger King is his folk. I don't get it. But I do think that's why the judge didn't give a higher sentence. Yeah, give more years. I do think that's why that she knew like, oh, if I pardon him, if I do this, Trump is gonna pardon him. Also, in regards to the jury, I would hear a lot of things about from the jury, like the one guy, because they only had two in the doc. The one guy who was like, what did he say? You can't take the trips, then can complain. How the fuck can't you? See, these people, and I don't know if that's on the prosecution or what have you, it's very difficult to overcome people's sexism, patriarchy, and understanding of class and how things work. Where it's like, oh, if you take the money, then you can't complain that I slapped the shit out of you. You can't complain that I kicked you. You can't complain I won't put your album out. You can't complain about anything because they believe in that golden rule shit. Like, oh, he who has the gold rule. And it's this thing, and they would say like this had nothing to do with the trial because he wasn't charged with domestic violence. Yet they mention it in the documentary. It's entirely possible that there was a cue, right? That the producer is asking them a question, they're just answering it. But I tell you, that attitude is still there, right? I would hear things like Cassie was the ringleader, Cassie this. These are people who also have not taken the time to understand and believe what people are telling you about abuse. They didn't believe Capricorn. Now, Capricorn, I remember seeing her. I don't think I ever ran into her in Hollywood. I do remember seeing her from Making the Band. They did not believe that she was really kidnapped. Now, I'm going to tell y'all a scenario. If you ain't seen this shit crazy to me. Puffy show up at her house with a gun, say, where's Cassie? Cassie went walking with Kid Cudi. She's like, I don't know where she is. He's like, well, you need to call her. We about to go. No. He tell her, we going to kill Kid Cudi. If you seen Capricorn don't look like she going to kill nobody. That don't look like her ministry. She's not a fucking assassin. The woman has been through some shit. I think she said in the doc she grew up with a mom who had addiction issues, so she knows how to navigate people and this, that, whatever. The same woman on the jury who was like, oh, and I was looking at him like this, like, can you believe I'm trading looks with him? It was me, something. She was trading looks about Capricorn because she didn't believe that she was kidnapped. A nigga show up at your crib with a gun who's extremely wealthy and volatile, talking about Cassie being with somebody and we about to go kill them together. If you don't go with him, and you a woman, so it's not like you could just hit the motherfucker between the eyes and knock him the fuck out. If you don't go with him, guess what? He may turn on you. So really, you trying to just keep it calm, but you don't want to go with him. And then she says that he said, tell Cassie, if she don't come here, I'm not letting you go. Those are the elements of kidnapping. It's simple. I'm not going to even go into the legal definition of it, but it's simply holding somebody against their will. Depending on the state, they say you may have to move them or something like that. Yeah, but no, that is textbook kidnapping. In the jury, they're finding it ludicrous. They think it's funny because Capricorn's here, because Puff didn't shoot Capricorn. So it's funny. It's like, oh, she's crazy. That's kidnapping. I'm glad they at least convicted him of something because he need to, like, who is that? I think that's Monique. It's like, you need to go sit down for a second. He does. because he's been running amok for years. And oddly enough, I always thought it was just Suge. And it's ironic that they both are in jail right now. They both are in jail right now. Because don't get me wrong, Puff is not the only motherfucker who was running amok, a straight up menace around that time. He's not. But he's the only one that put on this image that he wasn't. And I've seen a few people get away from Puff and keep working in the music industry. The Locks. My thing when it came to the Locks, Puff ain't hit DNY in the head with no motherfucking chair. They did a whole thing. They did a whole thing where they had Free the Lock shirts. I don't know if I think this was after Big that passed. I'm not sure. He didn't do that to them. Cause see, I see him as a bully, right? I see him as a bully. Like when it came to like all these rumors about fights and shit like that, like trying to start something with Kendrick or J. Cole or something like that, ain't never nobody who's his peer or contemporary. Kid Cudi's not his contemporary. You know, it's never that. It's these it's the younger niggas, right? It's not the folk who are like, nigga, you ain't nobody to me. I remember you. You ain't nobody to me. And even if you is, motherfucker, you ain't nobody to me. It's never them, you know? And as people like, who was that? Marlon Wayans was talking about, 50 wrong for doing this. Karma's gonna come back to him. That's the other shit. Celebrities like to protect celebrities. And before you say, well, but 50's a celebrity, but they feel like he's breaking the celebrity code by talking about Puff. But because people keep saying like 50 got this beef with Puff, it go back 20 years. Really? I'm trying to think. I know they did the I Get Money. That was 50's second album when they did a remix. I felt 50 on the when Puff asked him to go, like, hey, I want to take you shopping. 50 was like, nigga, what? I would be like, take me shopping. Think about this. Let's say your significant other, partner, girl, whatever. I want to keep it as a girl because I want it to hit home. No, not girl, your wife. I tell your wife, like, yeah, I want to take you shopping. How the fuck that sound? Do that sound benign? I don't want no dude trying to take shopping. No, we can go shopping together. Like, yeah, let's go shopping. Yeah, that's cool. I'm a fashion dude. That's cool. But take me shopping? No. So when did the beef develop? If there's beef, I think my thing is, it could be this. I could be wrong, but this is what I would say. 50 Cent been shot. 50 Cent been set up. Maybe he don't like the fact that a lot of the evidence indicates that Puffy may have allegedly had some involvement in Tupac's death. Maybe he don't like that shit. Now I do know that 50 at one time wanted to sign Mace. Oh my God. And Mace had this song. I heard some of that G Unit shit. It was so good. It was so fire. And that pisses me off too, because I'm on the side of artists. 50 had situations where Beans should have been on G Unit and Mace should have been on G Unit. And when you got the hot hand, let them go. But I feel like Jay and Puff wouldn't let artists go be with 50. They don't want to see that nigga get hot. I don't fucking know what it was. But I feel like black folk in those situations, when we see an opportunity for us to dominate any industry, we should be helping other black people do it. Especially when it's not interfering with what we doing. And at that time, I wasn't buying no puffy shit. At that time, Jay was still had shit that I would buy at that time. But the deal could be like, yeah, we gotta do some records together. You go make money, I'm gonna make money, cool. Right? So maybe the beef started there. Possible. But a lot of people have been making it seem like 50 has to have some type of altruistic motive for putting this shit out. No, he don't. And look, 50 Cent is no angel. Puff can make a doc about plenty of this shit with 50 Cent. With Young Buck crying on the phone because he's like, he don't have money and 50 not helping him. Mind you, I'm going to tell y'all something too about that. I remember during that situation, I got a call and somebody was asking me like, yo, what should Young Buck do? And I was like, he should do bankruptcy. That was my advice. And like, hit me, I'll help him, this, that, whatever. Next thing you know, some other attorney who was related to him is handling it. I was like, oh, so y'all just called me up for information or whatever. It happens. I was younger at that time. It's cool. I don't regret giving it, giving the info or whatever. And they wouldn't even have to pretend because I just like Buck's music. So I would have just told them, but I didn't need the subterfuge like they were about to hire me or what have you. Mind you, and I don't work with everybody anyway. There have been people that have come to me that I have turned down. I would not have worked with Puff. And before people say, oh yeah, that's because he didn't come to you. No, there have been people who have had people, or at least people have come to me. Now I don't know, maybe they didn't know about it. I don't know. But I had somebody come to me saying, do you want to, hey, give me a call? It's like, hey, I need to talk to you about something. Yeah, I got somebody. They need you. They need you. So would you? I was like, no. It was Kanye. They came to me and it's like, I was like, no. I was like, I was like, no. And I had to figure out how to tell them that and just say it's like, man, look, the way I am as black, because by this time, this is when Kanye was expressing uh, support for Trump. I was like, no, that's not, I can't give my life force to that. That's not who I am. And I knew that was going to be millions, millions. And that was one of the times I turned it down. I was like, no, I don't think he was a billionaire at that point. I don't think he was. But previously, I had already said no to 2 other billionaires. So it wasn't no big deal to me at that point. Once you say no to one billionaire, it becomes easy to say no to another billionaire. So millions, no, turned it down. And with Puff, I would have turned it down. Because when you're in the industry, you hear certain things. You already don't hit my nigga in the head. And where I say that, like, Shakir was a really cool dude. I liked him a lot. He was always very open with me in regards to giving me information and helping me understand, certain things and make my way around Atlanta and connections and all this type of shit. He was really cool. Now, was he like one of my boys who I had been knowing since I was 15? No, but he was an acquaintance that was cool. Where it's like, I definitely, if I saw the nigga getting hit in the head with a chair, would have helped him, So I would not have represented Puff. If anything, I would have represented Kirk. Now, Kirk got fucked over. Now, according to the doc, Kirk is also alleging that he was sexually assaulted by Puff. While I was watching the doc and their relationship, I was waiting on somebody to say that. Where I was like, he calling you in so you can watch him get his dick sucked? I'm like, I get that. And not that I'm going to do it, but I get he's trying to show you the power that he has. But I'm also like, I feel like at some point, somewhere, somebody's going to allege that Puffy sexually assaulted this dude. I was just waiting on it. You have people like Kirk in the industry. They are people who they're not interested in necessarily being in front and on this side of the camera. They just want to do the work. And you can tell in that doc, he was like, even when he had to give back his 25%, because from the way it sounds, Puff just bullied him psychologically out of that 25%. And it leads me to another point too. Don't wait to sue. I see this happen often. We have what's called a statute of limitations, right? Where you have a certain amount of time to sue based on whatever it is that somebody has done to you. And according to the doc, and I haven't looked into his case, Kirk waited too long to sue to say he was entitled to, I think, is it like 25 million, something like that? That 25 million, think about it. If Kirk would have took that 25 million, did nothing to it, and he just invested, how much money he would probably have right now from the 90s. That means he's buying Apple, Amazon, all that shit. He'd be a billionaire. And this is my problem with a lot of these cats like Puff who are billionaires, but they're not the talented ones. They're living off other people's talent. He ain't Beyonce. He's not Jay-Z. He's not the Nick of rhyming. He's not the one singing. Where I say that, where I'm like, he's not writing the rhyme. He's living. And so Mark Curry, I love that. So that song that Mark Curry did when they had the Bad Boy thing. I could tell that Mark was like, man, this is some bullshit when he's in the doc. Mark Curry, I do not believe is lying. Kirk is not lying. These people are telling the truth. And Mark Curry's been like that when it came to Puff soon after he left. He let the world be known. Don't fuck with this nigga. I remember Mark. I remember it. And these people aren't lying. I think they're telling the truth. They give all the indicators of people telling the truth. Now, is it possible that they have exaggerated or what have you? It's possible. Anything's possible. It's possible that Mark Curry and Kurt Burrows don't even exist, that they're all simulations in my mind. Like I'm imagining this entire world. That's possible too. Is it likely though? No, it's likely that they're telling the truth. It is likely. And with Kirk, I feel the dude said he was homeless at one point, right? When he said he got fired because he refused to remove pages from Big's contract after Big died to put in more favorable pages for bad. People do that type of shit. It's typically why on a contract you have to initial each page because people will. Let me slip this out. Motherfuckers will try to copy the initials onto the other page, you know? So you need to, I recommend getting your contract notarized, initial each page, and taking pictures until you get that fully executed copy back. That's how you got to be. And sometimes if you feel you got to do all that, you might not need to even be dealing with the person you're dealing with. That's an indicator. It's people like Puff and how he would do folk that made it really hard, I saw, for people to trust folk in regards to signing contracts. There was a period, and I don't know if it's still going, where I would talk to people and they're like, man, it's so hard to get people to sign. Nobody trusts nobody. And people would say, because you hear all these stories, that story about Craig Mack having a gold record and not having money and Puff pulling out water money and giving the nigga $100. I see why Craig left. I get it. Now, I don't think it was going to be much better for him on death row, but I think it would have been better. I think it would have been better. Because Craig, yeah, that's just shameful. It's just shameful. Like, why? I don't even want people to be broke like that around me. I wouldn't even want that. I remember once I had to have a reality check with myself. I have a fashion site called boxfelloffatruck.com. And I needed someone to put the clothes onto the site. So I used Upwork for it. And so I was negotiating with this woman in Pakistan. And I wanted to pay, what did I wanted to pay? I think I wanted to pay 75 cents for each upload. And she's like, no, that's too low. I want $1 for each upload. And I was about to write back and I was like, Demetrius, what the fuck you doing? It's $1 for each. That's fair. It's $1 for each. So I was like, yeah. Because I was like, what? But capitalism can train you into believing that you happen to capitalize, exploit, and use people all the time. And that's part of the problem I feel with Puff, where you become part of the capitalistic system and you decide, I'm going to treat Black folk the same way that white supremacists have treated Black folk. If that's the case, what the fuck we need you for? Why? Because in the doc, I saw a lot of time, I would hear Puff speaking about Black folk and Black power and people a lot of times, because especially in the early 90s, because that was the time where, a lot of people were, about that, Public Enemy, X-Clan, all that type of shit. A lot of people were, about that. But your actions not bearing it out. See, I'm a believer that if you duplicate the same oppressive system, you're not a creator. You're not independent. You're not free. You're just duplicating the same system. You're a slave to that same system, right? You haven't created, if you want to be free, create something new. Create something that's not oppressive. Otherwise, you're just like them. But it's like, oh, but I'm at this part of it. No, because there's many a white person that will tell you white supremacy is evil towards them too. It's just a different type of evil. It's a different type. Y'all remember that dude? It was a Netflix documentary. I don't know if he's out of jail. I forget the name of it, where he was wrongfully convicted because people in that town just didn't like that family. That's an example of white supremacy. The way they're running that town, they just ain't got no Black folk there to oppress. See? So they acting it out on them because it's a class thing. It's different levels operating at the same time of oppression. And from what I saw in this doc, The Reckoning, that's what Puff was involved in. Exploiting people using that same system. And I heard it for years. I heard certain things. I never believed, though, to be fair, I never believed that Puff had anything to do with Tupac's death until I saw The Reckoning. And now I'm like, oh, yep. Now, because if The Reckoning, there's a claim that Puffy in a room full of Southside Crips, according to Keefe D, who was allegedly a member of the Southside Crips. I don't know if he was the leader or not, but Puffy said when Pac had hit him up and all this out, and Death Row was always talking shit about them, like, yo. And I don't know, Puff could have been drunk, he could have been high, just talking crazy. Because also, when you don't grow up in street shit like that, you do things to overcompensate. You say shit that you shouldn't say, right? And so with him saying to them, allegedly, yeah, I pay $1 million for somebody to take care of that. I don't know if that's not conspiracy right there. That's not conspiracy right there. I would have to go through the elements, and I don't, because of because the Tupac, what have you. I'm like, man, because when Tupac got killed, man, I cried. I cried like a damn baby. Cried because I resonated with so much in regards to Tupac and the Black Power side, that it hurt. And so even now to this day, I'm like, same thing with Malcolm. And don't get me wrong, those are two very different people, you know. But knowing that Black folk did this to other Black folk, not the powers that be trying to take out somebody who's an impediment, but you did this. To hear that as an allegation from in the pro offer, from where you go in and you're trying to get pro offer, you go in, you're trying to get either reduced sentence, lesser charge, so you give additional information about something else the police may not know, and they can use that to say, oh, he helped us here. Keefe D even says on tape, I thought he was crazy. Because without Keefe D saying it, I can say it, it's a room full of a high number of sociopaths. This is what these niggas do. They killing for free. So you saying you gonna pay $1 million? Now, when I do an analysis on the situation and why I think it's plausible is, okay, allegedly somebody said they wanted a death row chain. Allegedly it was Puffy, according to the documentary. As allegedly somebody tried to snatch somebody's chain, and then they saw the dude who allegedly, because we don't even know if the dude at Mike Tyson fight tried to snatch the chain. For all you know, these niggas could have been a Mike Tyson fight. You see Mike knock a nigga out, you want to knock somebody out. So you charged up. People get like that after movies. I remember once I went to see a movie with somebody, four brothers. I'll never forget this shit. This dude saw this movie, trying to start an argument with me. I was like, man, I'm not about to do that. Luckily, one of my boys who had been knowing me a long, long time knew that we had maybe like two or three more of shouting things before I wasn't gonna take no more shouting at me. And but that's how people get charged up. Some anyway. And so when Pac and them jumped the dude who pointed out, there's like, oh yeah, that's the dude trying to take my chain. He could have just been a Southside Crip who had nothing to do with that. I don't know. But they didn't try to kill the nigga. They only jumped him. And he got up and he was talking afterwards. So, all right, it was, if you think about it, if the first dude got jumped, and I am not a street politics person, I don't get into that shit. Because I don't understand it. Because I'm a socialist capitalist, where I think some things need to be socialized, some things should be in the realm of private ownership and capitalism. I don't understand the motivation in street shit. I don't get it. I never have. So, because it's not always even about just protection. Sometimes there's aggression and starting shit. And sometimes it seems like it's almost like symbiotic relationships and some shit like, so I just don't get the shit, right? So, because I don't even get Puff's involvement in alleged street shit. I do not get it. I don't understand it. It's not necessary. If it's necessary for the music from the standpoint of, well, I don't want these, like, if I'm got street credibility, I get respect on the streets, means I get more artists and people want to sign, and fans take this type of shit to mean like they should buy the music, and it means I can go get more airplay because the DJ is scared of me. I don't fucking know. I don't get it. I don't get it. But whatever the case, I see in that story that's being told, I see violence that's on the same level. You try to jump somebody, take a chain, we beat you up, assuming it was you. The escalation only comes when they try to shoot and kill Tupac and Suge at the thing. Now, is it possible? Yes, but it seems like, and that's the thing that always perplexed me. I was like, it has to be something else there. This is a escalation of violence because I'm like, if you kill him, then you know there's going to be this level of retaliation. That's an all-out war. Like, I don't know. But then when you introduce Puffy saying, "Oh, I would pay for this," then it makes sense as the way Keefe D described it. When he was like, "Oh," he was like, "Well, you know, beat him up anyway. This is an excuse to go ahead and get a meal," right? That shit made sense to me. Then you listen to Kirk. I don't know what Kirk was getting at when he's like, "We had to drive these cars cross country." I didn't understand that. And I don't know if they was talking about, because they said somebody had a trap in the car where you could hide a gun, but we don't know if one of those cars is the cars that was driven across the country. We don't know that. But Kirk did bring this up, you know. And with Keefe D, and Keefe D is allegedly going to stand trial for killing Tupac. So I'm like, this all seems very plausible. I can't say that this is how it happened, but creating that environment, I heard many people say, I think the minister Farrakhan at one point said he had nothing to do with Malcolm's death, but he felt that some of the things he said created an environment for which it could occur. I think he said that. Let me check that and be sure. And if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. Yeah, could occur. He said he did not order that directly, but he felt that. And that's cited in 2000, back in 2000. I feel like with Puff, because I've had numerous conversations with people where it's like, so you feel like Puff had Tupac killed? I was like, no, but I feel like he created that environment where it could happen. Because you can't say that to a bunch of killers. You cannot say that to a bunch of killers and be surprised when they kill. Like, man, they went crazy. No, it's like saying them killers went crazy. They kill us. You can't do that. And so I would say that. Now, whether or not it's conspiracy to commit murder, possibly. It's possibly conspiracy to commit murder. I have to break down the elements, and that's an entirely different show. But what I can tell you is I remember I was washing my car at this point, and my then ex-girlfriend came over and she told me I was out washing and she's like, "I've been calling you." I was like, "What's up?" She was like, "Yeah, Biggie dead." I was like, "Oh, that makes sense." Because I knew there would be retaliation, but I didn't understand why. And this documentary helps me to understand why. Because I would hear that the rumor about protection, like, well, Puff didn't pay for the protection, that's why they killed Biggie. I was like, that don't make no sense, though. That don't make no sense. Why would because I always thought, personally, I always thought Suge had something to do with it. But I was like, I just couldn't understand how he did it or why he would risk that, you know? But according to this documentary, it wasn't Suge, which says something where I'm like, oh, let me get this straight. Because people even floated the claim like, oh, Suge had Tupac killed because he was about to go, this, that, whatever. Which I was like, and somehow he got shot in the head, got nicked or something like that. I was like, that's a very dangerous game. I don't know about that. But if Puff, because according to this documentary, he only paid $500,000 allegedly to his boy who did not give it to them allegedly, but who was supposed to. Not getting paid for a hit is a reason for a motivator. So that's possible. That's possible. I refuse to believe any assertion that Puffy had Biggie killed. I just don't. I don't see that. I don't know Puff like that, but I just don't see that. I've known people who've worked with him, and everybody who's worked with Puff hasn't had something bad to say. I've known people who worked for Puff, and I was like, how was it? And they're like, oh, it was cool. He was very helpful to me. The only thing they said they didn't like was that everything that they did after they left him, he would try to take credit for. But they didn't have no problems with him. and they were, and some of them were women, and they were very attractive. But but I think people are many things, you know. But just because people are many things, it doesn't mean that we have to pretend that they aren't the menace that we see them being. And to use Kirk like that, that Kirk one really, Kirk, Mark Curry, and the last dude who did the Love album, those really hurt. Those hurt. And Capricorn, I just felt like she had already been through so much shit. Why you got to do that girl like that? You know? Mm-mm. No. And if you want, and this is the thing, 50 Cent ain't the only nigga saying that. Choke, no joke. Google choke, no joke, and look him up. He has a video. I forget who he's talking to, where he adds another layer to this. There's a whole nother layer to this. Because the night Tupac, he was like, the way Choke No Joke broke this down, I was like, this shit is incredibly plausible and it makes sense. Okay, this is what he says. He was like, was it Quad City Studios? I think that's what it was. Whatever. He was like, man, Tupac's death starts there. Now, there's a song called Pain with Tupac. It's one of Tupac's best. It's not mastered very well, but it's one of Tupac's best. My boy Garland, we used to rap that motherfucker beginning, and Garland probably still knows it's one of his favorite songs, so much so he got a Pain tattoo on one of his shoulders. But it's this dude named Stretch from the Live Squad who's on the song. Live Squad was signed to Tommy Boy. They had this song called Heartless and another song. Live Squad was nice. Live Squad, the dude Stretch kind of sounds like he has a Biggie type of voice. I hadn't heard that before. He's not like Big or Shine, but it was like he's kind of the first person I hear with that type of voice. Anyway, let's go Quad City. So y'all heard the story. Watch The Reckoning. Catch up, you'll know. Tupac going there, and the way Choke No Joke breaks this down, he's like, man, everybody is there. It's like a perfect confluence of events that set everything forward from Tupac's death to Biggie's death to Stretch's death. Because we got there are three people that die in this. We've only heard about Biggie and Tupac, but Stretch dies too. I'm not sure why. I don't know why Stretch dies. Stretch gets killed on JFK. Is it a JFK freeway? A car pulls up next to him, shoots him twice. I've heard everything from allegedly he robbed some drug dealers to it was something to do with Quad City. I don't know. I don't know. But this is the thing. All right, hear me out with Choke No Joke. Quad City got different floors. Tupac is coming there to do a record with this dude named Little Sean, according to what this story Choke No Joke says. Lil Sean is an artist. Him and Tupac allegedly don't even do the same type of music or whatever. That's what Choke was saying. But Jimmy Henchman is going to pay Tupac $7,000 to do the song with Lil Sean. Now, mind you, he and Tupac are arguing because Tupac won't do it for free because he had been doing some shit for other people for free. He's like, fuck you charging me for? But he don't know. Allegedly, Jimmy Henchman is somebody that you don't talk to like this. And he tells the people that he's with like this, like, man, who's you talking to? It's like Jimmy Henchman. It's like, you talking to him? Like, man, no, we got to keep guns with us. That nigga crazy. Whatever. So whatever the case, they agree. And so Jimmy's like, okay, I'll pay you. I'll pay you the $7,000. Come to the studio. Tupac is like, all right, cool. Tupac's coming to the studio. Now, mind you, Tupac had some words or something with this dude he used to hang with, Haitian Jack. And Haitian Jack has admitted with Soledad O'Brien, well, kind of alluded to, left us to read between the lines, that night, he is the person who allegedly ordered Tupac to be robbed, roughed up, or something like that. But he didn't say he told him to shoot him. I don't remember that. Allegedly, Tupac ends up shooting himself trying to get his gun. That's what I remember from that. Let me check that. Cause yeah. Oh, okay, wait a second. Hold up. Oh, he says he distanced himself from the blame and suggesting an associate took credit, not him directly. He denies that he has a hand in it or what happened. But I remember watching it, and maybe this is a nuance where hold up. I gotta look at this again. Oh, this shit is long. So let's assume, how about this? Let's assume he did. Or at least let me go with this. Let me go with this. Choke no joke in the video is saying that Tupac is going there and that Haitian Jack or somebody is not happy with Tupac, so they're sending somebody to have some words with him. Rob Haitian Jack says he would never, rob a friend or what have you. I don't know if Tupac was a friend, but that being said, what Haitian Jack I got from that interview, if I remember correctly, Haitian Jack didn't seem like he had sent them to do anything. If he had sent them, which he denies, he didn't send them to kill Tupac or even shoot him, and that Tupac shot himself. That's what even Choke No Joke says that. So I think Choke No Joke has cleanest theory of Biggie and Tupac. So at the studio, Choke No Joke says this shit I had not heard, that Puffy is upstairs with Jimmy Henchman, right? Because Biggie is downstairs secretly recording Junior Mafia, and he's writing for them and has a publishing deal with Puff, but he's not telling Puffy. So Puffy is there with Jimmy Henchman and Andre Harrell, who Andre Harrell wants to talk to Tupac about being on New York Undercover. This makes sense because at that time, Tupac, though he wasn't making a lot of money, he was doing above the rim. He was somebody who you knew could act. People did know. And I think at that time, Above the Rim, had Tupac put out his second album, and women were really liking Tupac, in part because some of the music that he was making. I think so. So Tupac, he didn't have a lot of money right then, but he was on the come up. And so he wanted to talk for that. So when Tupac gets there, if they had robbed Tupac any place else, the appearance would not be what it was. Tupac, according to Choke No Joke, sees Lil C's. And Biggie said, like, and I think it was in an interview, I heard Biggie say, like, yeah, Lil C's like Tupac downstairs. And Biggie's like, oh, let the nigga up. And so Lil C's get on the elevator, get ready to go downstairs, and two niggas come out, tell him, get your ass back on the elevator. And by the time he gets back up, Tupac has been robbed and shot. So now, Tupac gets robbed and shot. All these niggas got to come downstairs. So Tupac is like, man, I don't got set up. I'm seeing Andre Harrell. I'm seeing Puff. I'm seeing Biggie. And I came in for this session. I'm seeing Jimmy Henchman, who I was just having an argument with. So if I'm Tupac, he's on the elevator. He gets up there. He sees all these niggas. And Jimmy's like, what's going on? Let me talk to you. Like, talk. And if you've just been shot, you don't know who to trust. Right? So you're like, if I'm Pac. So if I'm in the ambulance on my way, I'm seeing all these niggas. I'm seeing Biggie, who I thought was my boy. I'm seeing Puffy, who allegedly, according to the doc, don't like me. I'm seeing Andre Harrell, who allegedly wanted to talk to me about this. I'm seeing Jimmy Henchman, the nigga I just argued with. I'm seeing Lil C's, who's just waving at me. I'ma feel like all these niggas is enemies, which would set me on the road because to be like, I'm going to get my revenge on these niggas. Now, Big always said Pac know who shot him, where he could think it's Haitian Jack. He very well could, or, whoever's trying to rob. He could have thought that, or he could have thought otherwise. Or he could have known it's like, I'm going to take this as an opportunity and come at y'all niggas because I'm just going to do it. Maybe, like Ice-T said in an interview once that Shock G came to him and said, man, you got to talk to Pop. Death Row is feeding them gunpowder, And, I don't know if y'all know this. Y'all probably know this, that back in the day, they would feed gunpowder to dogs to make them a little crazy in the attack mode and shit. So getting with Death Row, Suge don't got you out of jail. You go feel some loyalty. You go kind of start a rap war, which, of course, leads Puffy, allegedly, to be like, man, I'm sick of these niggas coming at us. Because we find out later, like with 50 Cent and Ja Rule, I'm not going to say that 50 Cent ruined Ja Rule's career. Niggas was getting tired of Ja Rule and that radio shit anyway. You got about a couple years before we like, all right, same thing happened to 50. Think about it. By 50's third album, we was like, whatever. When they had that contest and Kanye album, I said, we weren't really thinking about 50 no more after that. That's how it goes. But it's possible I'm wrong on this and that no 50 help move him along. And Puff's eyes is like, man, if we don't deal with these niggas, they're gonna move us up out of here. Because the fans or the people who buy shit and the people who play records and all this type of shit, they gonna be like, oh, you getting bumped by these niggas. We ain't about to play your shit and all this type of stuff. I don't know. It's entirely possible. But what I will say is Choke No Joke's theory is very interesting because I think does he go into the shit from the Reckoning? I can't really remember if he goes into the Reckoning stuff to say like why Biggie got killed. He brings up some things that, you gotta watch in the video because it's quite nuanced, it's very complex, complex as to who would get death row if Suge went to jail. Now, there's some things that he alleges that I don't agree with because allegedly Snoop and Tupac had an issue because Snoop said he didn't have any issues with Puffy and Biggie. Okay? Choke No Joke believes that riff couldn't be repaired. I think that could be repaired. Easy. Niggas get over shit like that all the time. I've been in that situation where it's like somebody comes to you, it's like, yeah, dude was saying this, this, and this. And I'm like, and what you say? But you can get past it. You can get past it, That's it, man. As motherfuckers say 50 has karma, and this is what I was talking about where people like to defend celebrities and it's like, oh, 50 Cent is breaking the celebrity rule by putting this out there. Puff can make a doc about 50. I think the damn Reckoning is a masterpiece. I was like, good Lord, this is a very good documentary. Very good doc. If there is, damn, they might have missed Oscar season nomination period. Maybe not. That was an Oscar-worthy documentary. It was really, really good. So much so, I think, because 50 said Puff should have been in it. I don't disagree. It didn't seem like a hit piece to me. A lot of the film was done based on footage this nigga made. Now, this is the other thing, not paying people. Why would you have these privileged conversations? Well, they're not privileged because there's somebody there breaking privilege, absent them signing some type of agreement where they're part of the defense. Like you could have a videographer walk around with you to tape things, like those intimate things for you to play for the attorney and they're doing strategy, but that's not the case here. And he never paid them. So I'm like, these are attorney-client privilege conversations. Why would you record these? And that is getting to the ego part. I have always said this to anybody who would listen, that if I was Puff, knowing the things that I had done to and with Cassie, when Cassie came to me and said 30, I would have said, hell no, I'm going to give you 75. I'm going to give you 100 because I did this shit. And none of this would be going on right now. There's no telling where this ends because Keefy D is on trial. Okay? Understand what that means. And these aren't, I don't think these are state crimes. These may be federal crimes because they're being coordinated based on some of the things that Kirk said across state lines. I don't understand why he just didn't pay Cassie to begin with. He had Revolt, had to sell that. I would have just paid the girl. But it's this pattern of not paying people. And some people become billionaires using your money. They can become a billionaire using your money. That's why one of the things I question about Amazon, when I see the unions, the attempts to form unions and people not being able to take pee breaks, and I see Jeff Bezos flying a fucking rocket, that's their money. That's their depressed wages. And then you compare that to Costco, where motherfuckers is making $20 an hour is one of the best places to work, and the CEO is like, I never wanted to own, well, not the CEO, the founder is like 20% is enough. I don't need more than that. At some point, shit has to give. Even when we look in our country, wages are so depressed and it's so much at the top. At some point, like even when we talk about AI, and I'm going to do a whole thing about this later. But I'm like, if AI replaces all these people, who the fuck is going to buy the shit that AI is making, running, or contributing to? Okay, no, Henry Ford talking about Detroit, bringing it up, made a car his workers could afford to buy. I've always thought this when it comes to Ferrari, Porsche, anybody, if your workers can't afford to buy the thing that you're making, there's a problem. Every person that works at Ferrari should have a motherfucking Ferrari. Even if there's a day where y'all go in and be like, we're building such and such as Ferrari this week. They can't sell it, I get that. But everybody at Ferrari should be driving a Ferrari. That's how. So with Puffy not paying people, that shit bothers me. And I don't want to hold black people to another standard. Because sometimes when you do that, you end up punishing black people more than you punish white people. And that's wrong. I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that. At the same time, though, nigga, come on, man. I used to have a teacher and I used to write on my Black Power stuff to my teacher. And we used to have debates when I was in school. And once I wrote something, I was talking about being exploited by white people. And he wrote, yeah, but what if it's black people doing the exploiting? That stuck with me. It stuck with me. I even got a poem about it. I have a book, All the World's a Runway, where I talk about how when black people exploit you, it hurts. But for some reason, white people put spikes in their boots when they put their foot on your neck. That's how the poem goes. So I was reciting the whole thing. With Puff, it's just like you gotta pay people. How that dude allegedly he did the whole Love album. And did he say he get 30,000? Then we listening to these messages that you calling him and shit. And because watching Joe Budden, it's like, yeah, he'd be back this time. Man, I wouldn't produce Twinkle Twinkle Little Star for that nigga if I had to. I wouldn't even knock on. No, because he don't pay. And that's the easiest thing to do is pay. And you got the money. They got him in the car bragging to some woman about, yeah, I'm about to cash a check for 200 million. And he's not the only one. I remember reading in some book where allegedly when it came to corrupt, that instead of getting the money, Suge gave him a Lexus one time. That's what somebody said. I don't know if it's true. I remember the whole thing with Birdman and Lil Wayne and 50 Cent saying like, oh, stay out of them, that's their business. I'm like, no, it's not. And even if it is, we know about it. We all right. If it's their business, I wouldn't know about it. But I knew exactly what that was. I was like, Universal gave Birdman your money and cross collateralization. When they gave him the money for his label, that advance, whatever he don't make up, they're gonna take from your shit. Now, it could be that Birdman knew, like, if I take this money, they're gonna still give Wayne money, right? But the way that could have worked, if you want to run that, the way that could have worked is Wayne shouldn't have had to go to Jay-Z to get money. He could have been like, Wayne, look, you gonna have to sue me. You could have told him, you gonna sue me, but I'm gonna give you money on something else. But you sue me for this, and then we can get more money out of them. That's how you work that. But that's not what happened. And so when I see these people making money, and even I remember, I don't know if there was this person called Wendy Day, Rap Coalition. She alleged that she was supposed to receive money because she helped negotiate Cash Money's first deal. And she didn't receive her money. I don't know if Wendy Day, let me see if Wendy Day ever got her money. Where we at? Let me see if she sued. Yes. She sued Cash Money, or at least threatened to sue over unpaid fees. She helped negotiate their landmark deal with Universal. She was owed a finder's fee. When she attempted to collect that fee, she claims they didn't pay. Yeah, I don't know if she actually did. But people in music, in hip hop, have a pattern of getting rich by not paying people money that they're owed. I don't like that. I just don't like it. It's no way that Kirk should have ended up homeless. There's no way. There's no way. And it's unfortunate. And I got to say this again. Don't wait to sue. Whenever you think you got a lawsuit, this is a procedure that you need to undertake. Go to Chat GPT. Say, tell Chat, this is what happened. I think I have claims. How long do I have to sue? Give me a date. Because too many people get caught up in waiting. And you wait. Now I can wait because I know like the statute of limitations on my claims. So yeah, I think I'm a stop it for now. This is long. I might do a part 2 to this because there's some more shit that I want to go into. But what I say is everybody needs to watch The Reckoning. 50 Cent does not have to have altruistic reasons for doing The Reckoning in order for it to be good. I think this is good for the Black community because we need to see this. But at the end of the day, stop building these celebrities up to be something that they are not. When they say some shit, check them. If you're in the audience and they say some shit, check them. when you online, they say some shit, check them because time is out for that. We're not building up black celebrities so they can replace white folk in ruling over us. If you're not gonna be part of the fold of fairness and justice and eliminating white supremacy, patriarchy, classism, capital exploitation, we don't need you. That's it. So go out there, get into some good trouble. Peace.